There's no arguing that the invention of easily portable cameras was a revolutionary moment, and when these became a part of our tiny smartphones, the world just became so much more advanced. Thanks to the high-resolution cameras we use for filming and the exceptional quality ones present in every single phone out there, humankind can capture almost everything that happens around them. Some people are being extremely lucky in being able to catch all kinds of moments on film. While some of these just made their way onto the already going-on filming, others made it onto our screens because someone somewhere was smart enough to make the most of an opportunity. Today, the internet is overflowing with all kinds of amazing videos, and their compilations gather exceptionally high numbers of views. After all, we all want to see a reporter get distracted by a sweet little cat, and that adventure enthusiast who the monkeys fancied so much they couldn't keep their little paws off her hair live on TV. But before we get started, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe and click the notification bell for more such amazing content. This Canadian reporter named Briar Stewart was doing a story on a school bus video surveillance for her employer channel CBC Television, and while filming the footage she was met with a delightful surprise, as you can see from her uncontrollable laughter. As Briar was trying to speak into the camera, this adorable little cat approached her cameraman, and the next moment it was climbing up his back. After straddling his head, the cat jumped ahead and got on top of the camera. This scene was just too funny for Briar and her cameraman, but while he just chuckled being the victim of the cat's paws, Briar is seen heartily laughing at the situation. As much as she enjoyed this, it must have caused a tad bit of embarrassment since she was live on TV when this fiasco unfolded. Soon enough, the video of her laughing hit the internet and became a viral meme. After all, who doesn't love a natural and utterly candid sputter of laughter? Steve is an Australian television presenter. This astonishing event occurred when he was at the Taronga Zoo located in Sydney, ready to begin delivering his weather report. Everything was going fine until the silence in the studio was interrupted by Steve's own scream, followed by a fit of laughter. Why did it happen? There's nothing funny about a weather report, so what made Steve lose control like that? The answer is this pelican you can see on the screen, biting him from behind while he was live on TV, as his colleagues and millions of viewers watched the news. You can all see that poor Steve was trying everything he could to prevent the bird from chewing him up with his huge beak, but to no avail. It wasn't until this young woman intervened and grabbed the pelican, pulling it away from Steve Jacobs. Although he was freed from the pelican's strong grasp, his reaction had made millions out there laugh, and will keep doing so as the footage is now viral across the internet. Because Steve is a professional, this mishap could not keep him from presenting his report, which he did meticulously soon after the bird was distanced from him. This sports reporter from Italy was busy in live commenting on the day of soccer transfers for his channel Sky Sports. What he didn't expect was to encounter this young man behind him all of a sudden. This guy was holding an abnormally large banana, or maybe a giant inflatable banana prop, and when he noticed the reporter speaking on the camera, he suddenly got very interested in him. He came to the reporter's side and started teasing him with the inflatable banana, pushing it in his face. The reporter tried his best to swat away the annoying intruder many times, but he just wouldn't back off. So finally, the reporter lost his temper and snatched the inflatable banana from the man's hand. That didn't cool him off, so he hit the guy with his banana a few times. Now, this drove the eccentric man away, but this whole situation was filmed, and the reporter ended up becoming famous internationally for his reaction. Everything aside, the report did teach the man a good lesson as to not interfere in other people's work, especially when they're live on TV. The famous movie star Salma Hayek was invited by the American presenter Doug Kolk to his set along with actor Samuel L. Jackson. They both graced the show with their presence to promote the new film called The Hitman's Bodyguard. What Salma didn't expect was to be handed a toy gun by the journalist, which she graciously took from him and started playing around. Little did she know that despite being a toy gun, it was loaded with bullets, and when she pulled the trigger pointing it at the journalist, one of these bullets whizzed out and hit the journalist on his ear. As you can see in the video how embarrassed and scared she looks because she had no idea this was going to happen. We're all relieved to see that nothing serious happened, but we can bet on the fact that after this scare, Selma will not be playing with a gun no matter how innocent or harmless it is. This Chinese journalist was live on set when, in her attempt to stride away from the counter and approach her virtual audience, she ended up having a clumsy moment on live television. As she walked, her right shoe slipped off and slid away on the slippery floor. This event didn't stop her from gracefully continuing to walk without one heel. She looks like a total pro as she walks ahead, not losing her balance, not even limping. She even presented the headlines on camera as if nothing out of the ordinary happened as she stood with perfect balance. Not even a moment of discomfort was visible from her posture or expression. She should not be worried about the shoe, as it's visible she's the kind of lady who always has an extra pair to spare. But it's worth mentioning that her exceptionally professional behaviour earned her quite a lot of respect from her peers and all the people who watched this on the internet and could not help but be impressed by her sophistication and dedication towards her profession. The singer Harry Belafonte was sitting live in an interview with this young journalist when he just couldn't ward off his basic humanness and dozed off. The interview hadn't started yet, but as she began talking and posed a question to the star, to her amazement, she found him sound asleep in his chair while they were live across national television. This was probably the first time for the presenter, who looked awkward and embarrassed at the situation. She politely tried to get the attention of the singer several times by calling his name and asking him to wake up.
Harry?
Yeah? Yes,
Wake up, wake
I
up.
can't hear anything.
Okay. This is your wake-up call, Harry.
When it didn't work, she decided to calm the situation by joking about it with her colleague and the other guest who was also on air with her. Despite that, she couldn't dissipate the air of embarrassment completely. They were also losing precious airtime, so the two men came to her rescue, and as Harry dreamed away in his deep slumber, the three people in the studio tried to do some damage control. This will probably be one incident they will remember all their lives, and we can't imagine how ridiculous Harry would have felt after he woke up and found out about this. This Vietnamese journalist was live on TV and indulged in quite a deep discussion with his colleague. They were talking about the recent flood that had struck Vietnam when something out of the ordinary happened on set. The man's phone started ringing out of nowhere in the middle of the live broadcast. His ringing phone surprised him as much as it did the other presenter, but what he did next really left her and all of us with our jaws on the floor. He literally took out his phone and threw it away. In the video of him doing it, you can hear the hard crack as the phone strikes the floor and probably shatters. No one could believe he did that. After all, it was an expensive phone and there were other ways to make it stop ringing. Wonder why he didn't think of those. In the video, it looks like he's least bothered by the fact that he just broke his phone on live television and carried on commenting on the floods in his country. This gesture, however, did prove helpful in garnering him a lot of fame in Vietnam and elsewhere. John is a Scottish MP who was taking part in a parliamentary committee meeting via video conference from his home office. It was a pretty serious meeting despite being virtual. There were many other ministers participating, and John was using the opportunity to raise issues like subtitling in children's programs. But as he continued to talk on various matters, a few moments later he was interrupted suddenly by what looked like a ginger fluff ball. This was the MP's beloved cat who appeared in the video conference. Well, not all of it, but we can sure see it's the thick tail. Everyone was amused by this uninvited guest to their meeting, while Nicholson tried to continue his discussion, ignoring the cat. He finally managed to get the cat out of his way by saying, "Rocco, put your tail down." This must have made him feel a little embarrassed before his colleagues, but he moved past it pretty quickly and continued talking about important national matters. This, however, could not stop his video from going viral on the internet, where millions of animal lovers reached out to him with appreciation. These two young British ladies appeared as contestants in the popular singing TV show called X Factor UK, The Eyes of 2010. They walked up on stage with hopes of impressing the audience and judges with their awesome singing, but when they got up on the stage, the opposite happened. They were faced with humiliating situations which were made worse when one of them decided it was a good idea to misbehave with the judges as the audience booed them. At one point they walked off stage but came back on to finish their audition. However, it didn't go well as they sang horribly and well out of tune.
That's my goal.
This caused the audience to shame them even louder and harder. After this terrible audition, the two girls left the stage as the astonished judges and viewers watched. But they didn't leave empty-handed. They in fact went home with the title of Worst Contestants in the History of X Factor UK. This extremely funny incident happened in 2012 when the American actress Sarah Shahi was a guest on The Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson. She was supposed to talk about herself and her acting career. Simple enough, right? Well, not for long, as all of a sudden Sarah lifted her leg and put it on Ferguson's desk. She kept it there for a few seconds and then took it down. But then she again put it on the desk a second time. It was assumed that she wanted to show the audience the colour of her shoes. However, a lot of people were not comfortable with this, including the host, as can be seen from his expression. The actress was, however, least bothered by this and continued the interview in a happy, chirpy tone. Turns out this incident affected her popularity graph. Not worth it, Sarah. This Russian reporter was live on television reporting a story centered around Russian paratroopers. He was so focused on his story that he didn't even notice the man on his side approaching him and coming up to stand beside him in front of the camera. If you look intently, the man looks pretty drunk. Maybe that's why the journalist decided to ignore his intrusion. The drunk man tried saying a few words about the Ukraine conflict, which was a hot topic back then. The reporter, however, paid no heed to the man and continued his report about the paratroopers, which probably annoyed the intruder, so much so that he punched the reporter in the face. People watched in amazement as the poor journalist stopped his coverage to regain his senses. That's a pretty painful experience, especially to be part of on live television. Alison is a popular Hawaiian adventurer and conservationist. She was visiting the monkey area while filming a report, probably to discuss the primates and their communal life. But to her surprise, things escalated quickly as the monkeys surrounded her and started to treat her like a test subject. They began touching her, pulling her hair and her clothes off. One even tried climbing into her shirt. Alison tried freeing herself from their grasp without making so much of a noise, which she succeeded in doing, but the animals were pretty persistent. She was mildly injured by one of the monkeys who grabbed her arm so tight that its claws sank into her skin. This female Indiana Jones will remember this painful encounter with the monkeys for the rest of her life. So these are some of our picks amongst the unbelievable moments caught on live camera. Do tell us in the comments which one you enjoyed the most. For more entertaining videos, stay tuned to our channel. See you all next time.